So we're conditioned to speak and do certain things and act certain way and not be ourselves in order to put on a performance. And I realized you don't have to be that person, the person that they condition you to be in this lifetime. And like when you step out and you truly find value in who you are as a person and like what you can bring to the table on your self scope rather than like what they tell you you can bring to the table, it's so much more empowering and you can achieve a
You
lot
can achieve
more.
so much more. So this is Nina, Brandon, guys, for everyone listening. Welcome back to the podcast. Me and her got in contact with through Easton, and I feel like everyone I've met has literally been through Easton. The man is like the master networker. But I'm gonna go ahead and roll my intro super quick, guys. Welcome back to your Joyage. It's Cage, your gotta be a place, no place saturated for now. Giving a break from the constant sort of monologue that is the human mind. I want to say first, thank you for listening and viewing on whatever platform you're on. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like in this video if you haven't already, and follow at Joyage Podcast on TikTok and Instagram for all the highlight clips, all the things. So, Nina, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Nina is a business entrepreneur, coaching, mental health, like just beast online, just killing the social media game. And for me, I just recently, well, I've been in social media for a long time, but I didn't really start to pick up till like a month ago. And so I've understood that whole world. I understand all that shit. But this is the first time I've ever been able to collaborate with other creators as like equals, you know what I mean? And it's like kind of cool. So I definitely want to pick your brain there. But tell me how you and Easton got in contact, because that's always where I start. I think it's so interesting.
I love it. TikTok, surprisingly, but not surprisingly at the same time. So a couple months back, we were both, I don't even know why we ended up on each other's For You page, but we were talking about like mental health and like the 75 hard. And he actually reached out to me and was like, yo, I see you're working out all the time, wondering if you wanted to do like the 75 hard. And at first I was like, man, I work out every day anyway. I do what I got to do. And I was like, you know what? Fine. So we ended up taking on the 75 hard challenge together as accountability partners,
Okay.
and I could say for both of us, it has changed our lives drastically.
So was he just some random dude who messaged you on TikTok and was like, "You want to do partners?" Is that what it was when you first met?
Yeah, so at first, like when he reached out to me, I was like trying to treat him like a client. I was like,
Mm.
all right, schedule a 15-minute consultation, like whatever. Like, and we hopped on the
Oh,
phone
that's
and there's
funny.
like a good vibe. I know, but that's how it is. Come
Yeah,
on, you're in
I
the
know.
online
That's
space.
really funny though.
For anyone listening, like that's how it works in the online space.
Yeah, it's
But
it's weird. It's super weird. Hey, where are you? Where are you located, by the way? Are you like in? Are you like in there in like California or something? Or
No, so I'm actually originally from New York. I'm back in my apartment in New York after spending 3 months in Mexico, and
sure.
then 2 weeks in California, back to Mexico, and then now in New York for the holidays.
Man. Okay, so tell me about Mexico. What happened? So like, just for people who don't know who Nina Brandon, who haven't seen her TikTok, maybe you're putting out content. Like you're a beast. You're pushing the content out. I love it. I love all the stuff. I've watched like 100 of your TikToks just to like get a feel for like who you are. You know. So
Well, thanks for that. I'm a marketing consultant. I went down to Mexico. I partnered recently with a back end automation systems guy who's my business partner now, and I'm like the more front end marketing, copywriting, everything like that. And we ended up building a program together that's a video course of 12 hours, also 2 times a week coaching, and just a group community that's like private access. And we ended up doing that within the past 5 months of like 2 months in New York building it, and then 3 months down in Mexico. And it exploded into this beautiful project where we have like 60 clients together, and it's just amazing. But it's front end to back end business building and everything.
talk to me about this because I know you're not naive to the stigma around coaching courses, all that stuff. Like I just interviewed this guy named Tobias, who's a self-help, mental health advocate, and he does coaching as well. And I know even before I interviewed him, I was worried I was going to get some dude who's just trying to take money. And we ended up having a wonderful conversation. He's a good friend now. But what do you have to say, like, now that you're in that space, now that I'm in that space, obviously I have a totally different outlook on pretty much just creators in general, anyone who's just writing, like, on the social media. It's just a different thing. I feel like when you're in there, you start to, like, see color. And you're like, oh, I kind of know what's going on. There's still, like, people who are scammy. But what has your experience been like being in the coaching world and all that stuff?
For sure. So the reason that this partnership worked is because we both got screwed over by coaches in the past. And I've been
Ah,
in the coaching world for about 2 years now, 3 years. And I'm just like, there's so many scams out there. I'm not going to lie about that. But we're both young. I'm 25, he's 26. We've dropped a lot of money on our coaching. And it's literally just like what can we do to help people and actually help people? And like, yeah, we're all in the game of making money. We're all in the game of building businesses and chasing that freedom. But why on earth are we all like, I don't know. That's exactly where it stemmed from. Was like we got screwed over by coaches, and I really do think that a lot of the coaching world is a scam because a lot of people think that they can just charge whatever they want without over delivering on exactly what it is. So one of our core values is radical transparency with between each other and our clients. Like they know that as we're growing, they're going to grow with us.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have all the pieces. We're very honest with the fact that like we don't know everything, but the systems and processes that we're using are the systems and processes that work online.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're going to give to you. That's step one. The second one is over deliver. So everything that we do in our business, we're radically transparent about. We bring to the forefront, and it's like, this is what's working, this is what's not working, and this is what we're giving you guys because we know it's working. It basically works for every business. So yeah, there are a lot of scams online. I still don't love the term coaching. We treat our business more as like consultants.
Mm-hmm.
We have like done for you services, like people come into our system, like yeah, we'll coach them, but we're also actively helping other businesses grow by being hands on inside of their business. And I really do think that you shouldn't open a coaching business or a consulting business until you've actually done the grunt work of done for you services 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've done the whole like writing copy for other businesses and like being inside of other people's businesses before I even felt comfortable teaching what I actually knew. And that's how I think you should do it. It's like first do done for you, then do coaching, then do group coaching, and then have like a course on the back end. You can't start the other way or it's never going to work or you're just a scam.
I totally agree, and I saw that in your videos. So like, I don't know I don't know how familiar you are with my content with NFTs, but pretty much my whole brand is built around transparency. I know Gary Vee's a big fan of transparency. He's like, look, fake it till you make it. It's 20 years ago. That's not a thing anymore. He goes, people want transparency. They want honesty. They'll still work with you, even if you're saying like, hey, by the way, this is like my first project or whatever, you know. And so I'm a big fan of that. My whole channel is built on just transparency and not over promising, like just like you said. And I think that's so fucking important for our generation who's coming online, and all they see, like I still don't see it that much, but I know all the videos I see are people who are like, here's my Ferrari, here's this, you just got to buy this course. And all the people that are our age and younger are seeing that, thinking that's the model, that's what you just start with. And how you just said, you don't start there. That maybe 20 years down the line, when you've built like an empire and you're like Gary Vee or Grant Cardone, where you just have so many fans, then maybe you could do something like that. But that still isn't like the model I feel like everyone wants to go for long-term sustainability. But how did you even? So you started with your own coach. You got screwed over. Tell me about the steps in between that to where you were like, bro, I'm running like a business. I'm like a business person here. Like, how did that happen?
Well, everything is business. So I started my first business like 3 years ago, and everything flopped. Everything that I was doing for like for like a year and a half, just like for one, I didn't have the confidence. Until I had the confidence, nothing was going to matter.
And it took
like,
that year. It took that year to get it.
Yeah. So my first year I graduated in 2018, and like my first year out of college, like I was just like, trying to learn everything and anything about business. I got a back end course, which really is like the fundamentals of everything that I know about business. Read massive books, and honestly just every single day tried to face my mindset. And like I was in a deep depression, so like yeah, there was a lot of in between steps, but the first thing I had to face was myself. And until I faced like the darkness that I was really going through, nothing would have ever came. And like the business journey didn't take off until I was able to face my mental health. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, like you can just dive in and start a business, but no, like radical success in business will only come if you overstep yourself. And like the if you want to learn about yourself and you want to grow exponentially, start a business, and like you're going to face like trial and tribulation through like spiritual blockages and financial blockages, mental blockages, physical blockages. And like I was really stuck on the financial blockages because I never made like a lot of money before. Came from school.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought like $20 an hour for like babysitting was like good enough. Like food service jobs are good enough to get me through the day. So it's like and that's like the first thing I had to face was like myself. And like until I overcame that, which was like middle of last year maybe, where I actually found like value in who I was as a person. That was the first thing. So like no matter what coach I hired or what came, I did get scammed. Yes, there was a huge scam in there, but like no matter what I did or who I hired, I would have failed because it was myself that was just blocking me from everything that I
Wow,
did.
that's super interesting insight right there. I relate to that so hard because I was working like just like you. I graduated college a couple years ago, and I was working at a restaurant. I was making a fuck ton of money. I don't know how I was making that much money, but I was making so much money, and I remember just being like, God, like this. Am I supposed to? Do I just do this forever? Like it's a lot of money. Do I just work as a server? This sucks. I don't even like this. And eventually I was just like, I kind of wanted like a van life, and I just was like, that's really scary. I don't know if I could do that. And you don't believe in yourself. You're not self confident. You don't have any esteem because that's built after you take that leap. And so eventually, like after watching Gary Vee every single day, I was like, fuck it, and I just like went. And literally the next day, like the first day I left, the second I pulled out of the driveway, I had shed that old skin. Like I had literally stepped into another version of myself. And as soon as that trip ended, like 6 months after that, I did like a road trip for 6 months, and as soon as I got back, I was like, bro, I am so much more just capable, just to take care of my shit. I believe in myself, and that's really, really not something you can just have. It's absolutely earned, and so I think that's a big, big message what you just said about fighting through your mental struggles and sticking it out. If there's something you want, like it's gonna take probably a few years. Like I've been on YouTube for 10 years. I mean, I sucked. I must have sucked for like 9 years of that for it to take so long. But it took a long time for me to study, and now I'm at a point where it took off, and I have all that experience and knowledge that I took from it that I thought was like stupid and I'm wasting my time, and that is the reason I can succeed now. And so that's huge that you talked about that. Are you like open to talk about any of your mental health stuff, or do you want to keep that under the wraps?
Yeah. No, fire away. If
Okay,
I can face it myself, I faced it online before. It's totally fine. And
cool.
that's the thing. Once you get it out online, no one can hold it against you because you're not hiding anything. So feel free, ask any questions. I'm open to talking about it.
All right, so talk to me about what. So I feel like a lot of people who get like the mental health bug or start to notice it early on. My sister is 18. She's had it since she was like in 7th grade. Just a little bit of more self-aware, and with self-awareness usually comes some type of mental health because some people aren't that you're like friends with, and you're like, why am I thinking these things but my friends aren't, or this person isn't. So talk to me about when that kind of started.
Yeah. So it started when I was a junior in college, and this is like the turning point in my life. Like I've always been told exactly who I was, what I wanted, and things like that in life. And like I played soccer throughout college. I played soccer for 20
Nice.
years of my life,
Me too.
and like you too,
Yeah,
you played
yeah.
college.
I played in college and I blew out both my knees, so I had to retire. But yeah, so
So you know that loss of identity then
yes,
strongly,
I've faced
especially
many identity crises in my lifetime.
yeah. I then you understand exactly where
I
that
do.
comes from. It's just like you're so strong in that identity. You're so strong in like the great student, the top performer, high-end soccer player,
Yeah,
and then like when that's stripped away from you, who are you at
exactly.
the end of the day? And like after school, like I lost that all when I graduated and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to start a business. But what kind of business? No one tells you what to do. And for 22 years of my life, I've always been told who I was, where to be, what time to be, and I was very good at checking boxes to make other people happy.
Hmm.
I was not happy though. So when I was in Africa, my junior year of college, it was the first time that I went away that like I was there for 6 months. I was studying abroad. I had nothing except the fact that I was a student and I failed 2 classes. And as crappy and shitty as it felt to fail, for one, it was the first time I ever failed classes, so I was like, oh, beating myself up.
Yeah.
And like it was the first time I felt something in a very long time, maybe
Oh,
ever.
okay.
And like it's because I felt free. I felt like I was able to explore and develop different parts of myself that was suppressed away from the identity that I was born into and like bred
Hmm.
into. And then when I graduated school, like I felt that same feeling of like, who am I? And like I was trying to hold on to pieces from that person that I met in Africa, that other side of me, but like there was no structure or anything. So it just made me fall into like a really deep
I
depression.
understand that.
And like, yeah. And like that's like there was a turning point. It was in 2019. And I'm getting a little shaky talking about it. And it's just there was a 1 day turning point where I was like, do or die. Like it came across my mind and it was like really strong that I was like suicidal and like it was either I did it or I pushed through. And something told me not to do it. And I drove to my parents' house and it was just that was the day I chose to live and start healing. And we know that the healing journey is never complete, but it was the day that I chose to like, you're not okay, and I chose to live. And ever since then, like every day I worked hard, like every single day from that day, like meditation, checking in with myself, and making sure that like everything was intentional living, cooking for myself, making sure that I'm healthy and working out and like putting myself first for at least an hour a day. And that like really changed the trajectory. And it's still like a 2 years later, 2.5 years later, it's still like intention based living is like what makes living possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. That was super. That gave me goosebumps. That gave me goosebumps. I, I totally. Well, I can't understand, but I know what you mean. And when I have a video, it's on my YouTube because I wanted to. When I started the YouTube thing a year ago, really hard to be like, you know what, fuck this, I'm doing this. There was a video that I made called "Quit My Job and Travel the World" or something like that, and it was basically a video in like live reactions of me quitting and being like, fuck yeah, I choose like my, and it was like super powerful for me. But in the video, I looked like a crazy person on drugs or something. But I was like, fuck you guys, like, or I didn't say this to the people. I'm like in my car by myself, but I was like, you know what, like, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna go interview for this job. I want to leave. I don't want to be here. And I was like, this is the first time in my entire life that I'm choosing something for myself because I'm aware that everything from like middle school to now has been driven out of insecurity. Everything I did, as soon as soccer ended, I was like, fuck it, I want to be the best bodybuilder ever. But it was purely because I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, you know, and so I had to conquer the bodybuilding world, did that for a few years, was a fitness influencer person for a while. And then I was like, yeah, actually, I don't even like that anymore. And so then I was like, I'm going to travel. But like, it's that decision, it's that leap that I think Will Smith said it. It was something like on the other side of fear is success or something like that. And it's something you can hear and it's nice to say. It's a nice little clickbaity word, but only the people who have actually leapt and chose themselves at some point can understand that. And everyone thinks they have. You know, at that point, I thought I had done that all the time. I was like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm this and that. I'm like, wait, but on paper, all I've done is gone to college and played soccer. Like, I have not done anything actually. I just thought I had. And so that's so powerful what you said. Just choosing yourself, it's really where your life starts, you know?
It is. And like I want to hear a little bit about your cross country trip or your road trip that you said that was 6 months of van life. Like I had a 7 week road trip that changed my life post college. I was just like, ah, I gotta take back my life again. So what was that like for you? Like what were some big realizations that you had that like amplified you to where you are now?
So when I first left, it was more of a I want to be able to understand this. The first 2 weeks was a trial just to see what it was like and to travel and to see if me being in mountains and me doing something would make me feel better, would fill the hole in my heart or whatever you want to call it. And it was an entire 6 month process that had a climax point at the very end. It was, I went from Charleston, South Carolina, bottom, like southeast, to the Pacific Northwest in Washington State is where I finished. So it was like kind of symbolic that I ended literally on the other side of the country. And the craziest part was like the whole 6 months was me fighting this battle constantly in my head of like, why am I not feeling like I'm good, like I'm whole? And then I'll do this and feel whole for a little bit, and then as soon as I stop that act or stop meditating or stop reading, I feel like shit again, and I can't get out of this. Like, what am I doing? I'm just driving around, like stopping and hiking. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, and it was so weird because I was like, I thought this is what I came to do. Isn't that why I came here? So I could travel and stuff? And then as soon as I started traveling, I was like, well, what am I doing here? You know, and it was just so confusing. And so it was just a 6 month battle in my head, basically. And at the very end, I don't know if you've ever done psychedelics, but I'm somewhat experienced in the realm of psychedelics as far as trying to use it as like a more form of medicine than like a party drug. And at the very end, just on a whim, I was like, you know what? I'm in like an Olympic National Park, the most beautiful park I've ever been to in my life. And I'd been there for like 3 days, and I couldn't stop reading, and I couldn't stop like being super chill. And I was like, it's the first time the whole trip I've been able to like slow down and not think about work and not think about going out to DoorDash and make $100 really quick. And I was like, this was kind of cool. So I had prepped my mind just subconsciously, just by accident. And after the third day, I was like, okay, well, I leave tomorrow, and I have like some drugs with me. I was like, like whatever, like might be fun. And I had no intention to like have my life flipped upside down at this point. And so I just took some something and started walking around, went on a little walk in nature, and ended up climbing the top of a mountain, like a ski mountain basically, right? And as I'm climbing, I timed it to where sunset would probably happen as it's peaking. And I'm climbing the mountain, like the most symbolic Bible shit ever. And I'm climbing a mountain. I'm feeling like I have like super intense music playing. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I passed this lady who's walking down. She's like, oh, it's a great time for it's a great night for a sunset. And I was just like, it is. And so I'm continuously climbing up the mountain, and I get to the top, and I have videos of it. I haven't put. I'm making like a full video, a cinematic video for it, and I'm on top of this mountain like this, right? But it's like a ridge, so it's like this kind of, and I'm like walking along the top, and so I'm like at the top here, and I look around, and I realize I'm on like the very top, so I can see all the ridges of different mountains around me, and they're all like at the same level, and it was beautiful. And I look to the side, and the sun sets on one side, the other side, the moon is full moon on the other side, blue, beautiful, bright, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I'm like freaking out in my head. I'm like, this is unbelievable. This is the most unbelievable thing. And I'm trying to record everything. And I'm like, I don't know like what this is, but I can't, like, I have to remember this. This is the most powerful thing ever. And at the end, I like collapsed. And this is like a minor side note I should have mentioned in the beginning. I hadn't cried in like 4 years. It was like a problem that I was insecure about. I was like, why can't I cry? And so I'm on the mountain, and like this hadn't appeared in my head, but it was so overwhelming to the point where I was like, I can't contain what this feeling is. I don't know what this is. And I dropped to my knees, and I literally like looked up at the sky like a straight out of the Bible shit. I'm not like Christian or anything, but I was straight up at the thing, and I just collapsed on the ground and just was like sobbing, just like tears flowing so hard, like the biggest release of all time. And I like sat there, and like as soon as I stopped crying, I just kind of like fell flat on my back, looked up at the sky. At this point, the sunset was done. It was beautiful stars, just Washington State, so you can see the whole Milky Way. And I'm staring at the stars, and I'm like, bro, that was like one moment in time, and it was like a 5 minute little moment, but it felt so important and so unbelievable. But when I objectively step out of it, it was literally just a Tuesday night sunset. Like there was nothing inherently special. And I remember just saying, wow, I think I just like uncovered like the meaning of existence. Like we're just here to appreciate everything. Like this is unbelievable that we're here. And it just happened to be that I was in the most beautiful place in the whole world. But I was just sitting there, and I just couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, I found the answer, and it is nothing. There's no thing. It's just appreciate. And I was like, holy shit. And I remember I walked back to my car, took like a Polaroid picture. I was like, hey, I completed the mission or whatever, and like journaled for like 57 pages straight, passed out the next day, and the feeling of the hole in my body was just gone, like completely gone. I was like, I felt like I had read the book of life and got shot back to chapter 16. And I'm like, well, now I'm chill. Like I've read the book. I understand that life isn't this other thing that I thought it was supposed to be. And this is amazing. And since then, I mean, obviously I've come back to reality, but it's a totally different mindset, you know, and it was unbelievable. It took 6 months of traveling and fighting and complaining and recording podcasts saying, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm feeling like this, to get to a point where I was like, bro, I made some headway. This is lit, you know, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
No, thank you for sharing that. That's, for one, unpack this. If anyone wants to heal, go to Olympic National Park.
Literally.
I've had a very similar experience there.
It's not even remote. I've been to like all the parks. I haven't been to Yosemite and then like one other one, but I've been to like everywhere. I've been everywhere in the whole country basically. And this place was by miles ahead. Just, it was unfucking believable. So
Life-changing.
Yeah, no, it was life-changing.
I had a very similar moment to like where you kind of realize that everything you're chasing is a lie, and at the end of the day, like the only answer or the only truth is love. And like I have been trying to process that. It happened last November where I was walking in the park that I walk every single day. I do yoga there every single day. And I changed something very small. I just wanted to go for a walk, and I wanted to listen to music. And I went to the dock that I do yoga at every single day. I went to the dock that I like read every single day, and I just did nothing. I just went up there and appreciated. And that same overpowering like cry, that like you feel whole, accepted, unconditional love. That was the first time I ever felt like unconditional love from like a greater power or myself. And I was like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I chasing what I'm chasing? And at the end, I started hysterical crying, and I was just so happy for the first time in a very long time. And I was just like, all I want in this life is love. And it doesn't mean like a love from another person. It just means like unconditional love for everything and anything that I do. Yeah. Whether that's present moment awareness, cooking, whether it's present moment awareness of building my business, or spending time with family and friends, which I was never present really before that. The end of the day, which I feel like that was like your answer too. It's just peace, love, acceptance. and gratitude for like where you are and what you have.
Yeah, and the problem is
And
they're all
like,
buzzwords now. You know, everyone
amazing.
talks about it, and it's kind of it sucks that it like loses merit when you say like everything is love. Everyone's like, yeah, I know. It's like, if only you like knew what that felt like, you would understand what that means. Like now when I hear that, I know it's not bullshit. I just know that it's not really translatable to someone who hasn't gone through an experience like that. And the only way you can get to that experience is by struggling and facing that thing head on. And one thing I also picked up that I look back and think back on that is for like my whole life, I was always operating under a system of scarcity and insecurity. And this wasn't from the drugs. This was mainly from just me traveling and meeting so many fucking people on the road. I was like, wow, dude, most of us are pretty chill. Most of us are peaceful, like nice, polite, whatever. And everyone just, it was so weird for me to realize this, but I had known this, but I just never really accepted that everyone just, at the end of the day, even Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, just wants to go home and like be loved and accepted. Like that's literally the only thing. We want to be like fed, loved, and like just feel accepted. And that's literally it. Like even the biggest like scammy people in the world, like that's what they want at the end of the day, truthfully. And maybe they haven't been able to accept that and face it, and that's why they're doing scams. But that's what we all want, and it gave me like a totally different mindset because I'm usually at the gym looking around like, yo, this guy's trying to work me better, like he's trying to like curl better than me, like I can't let him do that. And now it's started to make headway to a point where it's a lot easier for me to look at someone with more love than just competition, I guess.
Such a turning point, right?
Yeah, literally crazy.
Stop. I get chills whenever I talk about this, but that's like that radical acceptance. Like I feel like a lot of people don't hit this point, and a lot of people are seeking something greater than themselves or beyond what they have right now because they're trying to find anything to make them feel whole. And at the end of the day, you can have all the money in the world, you can have everything. And I'm telling you, because like I went from literally having nothing to like building the business of my dreams. It doesn't matter what you have. It's literally who you are as a person,
Mm-hmm.
what your core values are, and whether or not you like yourself. That's it. Like other people's opinions of you don't matter. Other people, like what other people have or what you have doesn't even matter at the end of the day. It's like you can be happy with everything or you can be happy with nothing. But if you're unhappy with nothing, you're not going to be happy with everything. And like it all comes down with who you are at the end of the day without your identity
Yeah.
that you really hold so hard and tightly to. It's like if you have everything and it's stripped away, will you be unhappy or will you still be like that happy person that you are? Like I could say I sound like I'm talking in a loophole, but the truth
There's no other
is
way
at
to
the
say it. Like,
yeah, at the end of the day, who are
yeah,
you without the identity, without the titles, without the money, without like without that or without receiving recognition for what you have? If you're not happy without that, you have to readjust your mind and you have to readjust your life.
yeah.
And that's it.
Absolutely. I saw TikTok where some guy was like on a walk and he was like, dude, I think I figured something out. And he goes, wait, hold on. And he goes, every time you look at someone and you think they're judging you or you're worried about what they're thinking about your shirt, he goes, that's literally not a thing. It's not a legit thing. They're not thinking that, chances are, right? Like it's literally just you thinking that they're thinking that. So it's just you telling yourself that you suck or that you like wore a stupid shirt. And I think I've heard that before, but he said it in a way. I'll pop it up right now.
Other people's thoughts literally do not exist in your realm of existence. Other people's thoughts are just your thoughts because you don't know what the other people are thinking.
It was fucking weird. I remember watching it, I was like, whoa. That's the best part about TikTok. I feel like I've learned so much random, relatable content in just 10 seconds. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I love it.
People spit facts on TikTok.
It's the fact that people can make a full business. I know this guy named Abraham. He's like 1 million followers. I don't know him, but he makes videos where he just walks and talks, and it's like 1 minute, and he's got like 1 million followers. He does not do anything else. I'm like, bro, this is fucking awesome. This is so cool. I'm so glad people are able to get what they should get and like be able to. I think it's no problem to make a business based on mental health or making it based on helping people, even if it sounds dumb or maybe it was a scam 20 years ago because for whatever reason. But do you have any? I was gonna ask if you had any like. I hate the word like role model, but like, do you have any like role models people you look up to in this space currently? Like, do you watch people's content right now, or are you focused solely on production?
Well, I've watched content for 3 years straight, just trying to learn and grasp everything. So yeah, it depends on the space we're talking about. Like, I am an avid Gary Vee fan. I really do love his transparent, like the way so simple.
Yeah.
He doesn't overcomplicate anything, and like that's how to run a business. And also the human to human perspective with business. I hate when people try to disconnect like what they've accomplished versus like where people are.
Mhm.
It's like, no, even if you have like a Lamborghini or whatever it is that you're flashing online, like you're still a person, and speak to your audience as if they are people, even if they want to achieve the same things that you have in your life. So that's why I like Gary Vee. We'll always love him. Tony Robbins too. Like I know everyone's like, ooh, Tony Robbins, but he has the neurolinguistic programming background that I studied, so I really do understand what he says and how to build a rapport and how to like really talk to people, how to heal yourself within. He is like by hand single-handedly the person that like I've watched over and over again to like learn deeply about like the mindset that I wanted. And again, like you have to follow the precise steps that you want of the people you want to be like, and he was the person that had the confidence that I wanted and like the understanding of self and awareness that I wanted. So I followed his footsteps, and he was 25 when he started. I was 23 when I really started diving into this stuff. So like to get to where he is now, like that's where I see myself when I'm like, what, he's 70 now, 60, 70?
Is he that old?
He's up there.
Wow.
I don't know how old he is, but he doesn't look it. But that's
Say,
what I want to
he
be when
definitely
I'm
doesn't
like
look it.
67 years old. They had like a big birthday celebration for him, and I was like, I want to have that much energy and life when I'm as old as that. Like he's not an old man,
Mm-hmm.
he's a young spirit, but like if that's who you want to be when you're 67 years old, that's who you should role model your life after. So yes, Tony Robbins is another one. When it comes to marketing and business, I have mentors in the space like Ravi Abdallah and like Sam Ovens. If you guys want to learn end-to-end marketing, end-to-end business building, those are your go-to people. Or shout out at CPF Consulting. That's me.
Hit her up.
But but those are the people in the space that I follow to a T because they are single-handedly the people that help me build businesses. So
Yeah.
Sam Ovens, Tony Robbins, Ravi Abdallah, and Gary Vee.
And I think I think I tweeted this, something about being like, be very careful who your role models are, because if you start to watch them a lot, you will literally become them. If you do, and that works both ways, good and bad. Like for me, I watch Gary Vee, I watch Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory a lot, and I see a lot of shit that they do that I'm like, I reckon that I resonate with that. That's literally me. And so I want to have a show like Impact Theory, when I want to be like 50 with a show where I talk about whatever I want, like just like this. And there's no reason I should be able to, as long as I just apply what Gary says, which is basically just keep doing it and just stop putting like numbers and whining why you're not at this subscriber, that subscriber. And for me, I'm going to make it because I've been in this space for so long and I've seen all the cycles. And I know that if I just stick to my shit, over time I get better and better quality, more connections, more money. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to scale this with I just believe in myself at this point. And it's so important that you surround yourself. And it's with this generation, I know it's with me, I don't have real life role models in real life so much. Like my parents a little bit, but I don't have people like there's not like a mentor down the street in your neighborhood, right? You're not gonna find that like you did 25 years ago when everyone says find a mentor. It's gonna be an online dude. It's gonna be someone on YouTube that you find that you fuck with their content. They post a lot of videos, and that's how it's happening now. And so it's awesome that you're able to even be like, what's the word, humble enough to be like, yeah, these are people I look up to, and I couldn't be here without these people, and they've really affected me.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. So one of the biggest things that influenced my growth as an entrepreneur was moving in with my business partner down in Mexico. So like again, I like up my life and moved to Mexico in like a 2-week span where I was like, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm going. The pain threshold was like, no, if you want to build a business, you have to go.
Yeah.
But it stepped up from like just what we were able to create in the 3 months that we lived together. And we're going, like, we obviously don't live together right now, but we're moving into a Mastermind House next month in Colombia.
Whoa.
So the end of November, I'm moving down to Colombia for like 1 or 2 months. Solidified 1, possibly 2, possibly even longer. We don't know yet because it's kind of like, whatever. With 3 other entrepreneurs. So it's going to be me, my partner Brad, this kid Mike, who's in like the creator economy space, and then this kid named John, who's in the real estate space. So I can't even imagine what that kind of community and mastermind house is going to really bring to the forefront of business, whether it's just exchanging ideas, not just our business, but everyone's business in general.
Yeah.
So it's like, you are truly who you surround yourself by, and you could surround yourself. Can you hear that? I'm sorry. If you can hear.
I can hear your voice.
Okay, I have like text coming in.
Oh no, I heard like 1 or 2 before, but I haven't heard a lot.
Okay. but it is who you surround yourself by. So make sure that like if you are the top 5 people that you surround yourself by, so make sure you are surrounding yourself with people that are either in a similar space or have a vision very similar to yours or as big as yours. Because if you're not surrounding yourself with people that are in that same space or in that, they're not going to see or support exactly, give you the support that you need, is what I'm saying. They'll support you in different ways, but they're not going to push you to be either the best version of yourself or help you make the decisions you need to make in order to go forward and like really step into the space you need to step into.
Yeah, and for me, I live in my parents' house right now, and I'm grinding hard with nobody who understands this shit. So like when I talk to them, they're not exactly like I mean, they're supporting me and everything, but I'm not motivated by them like what they're doing because they're not in the same space as me. And so I'm like, wow, if I'm putting this much quality and content and doing all this shit on my own with no one to talk to, in a few months, one of my friends, Shota, who's a music artist on Spotify, he was like, yo, we're doing like a lot of content where we're trying to ramp up our shit actually for our brand. He goes, shit, we should like, you should like move here. And I was like, yeah, sure. And like for me, like that being able to just say, all right, came from me doing that trip. You know, I'm like, fuck it. Like I'll go to Oregon tomorrow. And I was like in Minnesota, you know, I'm just like, fuck it. And so like that experience like allowed me to do that. And I'm so grateful for that because I think that's something that a lot of people could do. They don't have to go 6 months and travel the whole country, but like you could do a week or a weekend even and just see what that does to you. Because my sister, for example, was 18. There's only so much you can know at 18. When I was 18, I was just trying to get the hottest girl at college and beat soccer and be cool and whatever. That's all I could think about. And for her, she's like, I want to do this stuff. Like I saw you do this. And I'm like, Hannah, I have 5 years of stuff in between you and me that I did that got me here. If I hadn't done that, I couldn't have gotten here. So you can't have what I have here without doing this part. And so for her, she has the wisdom because she's watched it online, she's seen my story and other people's stories, but she hasn't done the thing, which is a big problem for creators now who are 15 to like 19 who are starting businesses online with no experience, and they're promising these things like you said earlier. And it's just a crazy world because this is truly a place where you can post a video. Like 2 of my jobs, my online jobs right now, came from a YouTube video. They reached out to me from watching it. Under 100 views. Like for anyone listening, and you say, oh, I can't make it on YouTube, I got 2 full-time job offers from a YouTube video with under 100 followers. Like there is literally, this world is so underrated and so abundant in this sector of the space that literally anyone can get in.
Listen, everyone thinks this is something I see all the time too now online. It's like, oh, like people didn't, when I first came on TikTok, right? Like I had a business that started before I was on TikTok. And when I partnered with my business partner now, he had like 50K on TikTok. I had about 19K. And some of the clients that we were trying to pull on, they had like 120 to 1 million followers. Whoa. And like, yeah. And like we have clients that have like high TikTok followings, but a couple of the younger kids were like, oh, they don't have like the following that we have. We got straight out on a phone call. I don't know. I didn't trust you because you didn't have the following that we had. Following and likes mean absolutely nothing. It's knowledge, value, and what you provide and how you deliver on that transformation. And like, as like someone who really did care about that stuff in the beginning, like just like you're saying, like that likes and clout, I guess you can say, like that means nothing. You can build a business, land a job, or even build a personal brand because it's the quality of the leads that you have or the quality of followers, not the quantity.
100%.
And like that goes to show right there with your video, 2 full-time job offers, and consistency is what basically got you where you are.
Yeah, literally. And my brand has become super fucking tight. Like everyone in my support group is very, very loyal, and there's not that many, you know, like, but there could, like if I put in my Discord, hey, like watch this video, like 2/3 of them watch it. Like it's crazy. And so yeah, it doesn't matter with numbers, and with younger creators, something that they need to understand is I started making YouTube videos in 2010, starting with soccer, moved to fitness, moved to mental health, travel, and then to this. But like you have to earn your keep. If you, for example, you blow up on TikTok yesterday, you get 1 million followers in one day, which is happening every day. You are not the shit at 1 million followers. 5,000 of them at most will watch your next video, right? Like unless you put out another video that's like super viral or whatever, chances are they don't fuck with your brand because they haven't been with you long enough. So that's what really builds brand. I'm sure this is like your bread and butter. This is all you do. You know, it's like you see this happen every day with online people who are 18. I don't know, like you got to pay me like 50K for a TikTok. It's like you have to earn that like a little bit more. TikTok's a little bit crazy, but I am interested in your thoughts with TikTok followings, and like you have a TikTok page yourself with a lot of followers. What is your thoughts on TikTok followers versus something a bit more long form, like I guess with YouTube? Like, is there a difference? Does it even matter? Or like, what are your thoughts on that?
I wish I wish they could see my facial expressions right now.
What do you mean?
um, nah, because TikTok is like, in my personal opinion, TikTok is a short-term community builder. It's not like a long-term asset for any business. And maybe if you're a content creator or if you're a affiliate marketer that's trying to in the community of what is it, the creator community, and like that's the only long-term viable asset is TikTok. But every other business that I know, it's Facebook is a huge one because you can build a community around it. YouTube because it's that active following. If somebody finds you on YouTube and they like fuck with your shit, they're going to keep watching it over and over again because long form content is the way to go. TikTok is short form and no community. So I really do think in the long run, unless they change something up, it's not going to be around for the long term. It's good for connections and it's good to build your own community. But if you just rely on TikTok without having your own community, like you said, you have Discord, I have a Facebook group, you need something else to really build a business. You need to drive the leads from TikTok into a community, or no matter what, if you have 1 million followers, if you don't put them somewhere, they're not going to be your followers for a long time. So that's my thought on TikTok. It's like, it's great to build your community, but don't rely on it solely for building a business.
So a long time ago, I watched a TikTok with this guy. He was like a TikTok growth dude. He was like, "You guys are underestimating what it means to go live." He goes, "If you have 1,000 followers, you should be doing live like 24/7." And I was like, "Really?" And I never understood that. But as soon as I hit 1,000, I was like, "All right, let's start doing live." So I'm doing a few a week. What are your thoughts on going live? Does it help, or is it overhyped? Or
Nah, I would definitely say go live. Like that helped me definitely build my TikTok. But again, like if you want to grow your TikTok, lives are the way to go. Live and direct outreach and really engaging with your community, with anyone who engages with your stuff. Make sure that it's like, all right, they engage with you, they took that time out. Make sure that you give them that recognition and like comment back. 100%. But that's only if you're on the TikTok platform.
Yeah. And I would be scared if TikTok was my main place where I didn't have any funnel to YouTube or Instagram or Discord. Because I mean, I don't know how much it has to do with like being a Chinese company or the fact that it feels short form, and we already know Vine had its crash, and I think a lot of people are just scared that it could just disappear tomorrow. And with YouTube, it's owned by Google, Instagram's owned by Facebook. It's like, there's a little bit more stable. If my Instagram goes down, like I have my YouTube, but with TikTok, it feels very high risk, but also high reward. You can have a video go viral tomorrow, and there's not a lot of platforms left. Like Pinterest is one that popped. I don't know if you've heard about this, but Pinterest apparently, if you repurpose your TikToks, put them on Pinterest, the organic reach on Pinterest is like going nuts. Like it's like LinkedIn a year ago or something. So I'm gonna start doing that. That's a little bit of like a tip if anyone's like trying to grow or something that might work. I haven't tried it yet, but have you heard about that with the Pinterest thing?
Get a business account. Make sure it's linked to your website or your podcast and start flying. It takes 2 extra minutes from your day to post 4 videos. Go do it.
Dude, the worst part when I'm uploading, I have like 6 different places I post the link in. And every single fucking time I forget one. It's always like the most important one. I'm like, bruh. Or like I'll watch that video and I'm like, why is it like doing 50% less? And I'm like, oh my fucking God, I completely forgot to like add it here. And it's like the struggle. It's like,
you need to automate it.
I know. Wait, is that a thing? Like straight from
Zapier?
What's it called?
Automate that.
Wait.
Zapier?
Wait, how do you spell that? ZAPIER.
So there are integrations that you can include in your business that can just automate, because that's one of those time-consuming, redundant tasks.
Yes, it kills me.
Use Zapier or hire a virtual assistant just to do those processes, and that's just like what, 2 hours, maybe an hour out of your day of like pulling clips and just repurposing content. And like, what is your time worth?
It's the mental strain for me. Like it kills my mental.
Let's do a quick life coaching tip. What is your time worth in comparison to those 2 hours? Because you can hire a virtual assistant from like Philippines.com. It's from the Philippines, literally like onlineph or onlinephilippines.ph, something like that. Onlinejobs.ph. That's it. And you can hire a virtual assistant for $2 to $2.50 an hour. They can work 10 hours a week, which is like what? 20, 30 bucks.
Oh, I was gonna say 200, but I was like, wait, no, that's like 20 bucks.
No, like, and is your time worth what they can produce for you? If so, go through the process. It's a struggle to like onboard a VA because you have to explain the process. But after that, $20 a month, $20 a week can really save you 10 hours of your time. It's worth it.
Well, so I have thought about that. I have no problem delegating. I understand that my time is better spent on the creation part. And like for me, my first job that I put out will be for an editor, because I just can't keep up with my editing with the amount of videos I'm putting out. It takes fucking forever, and exporting and doing all that shit. And I'm like, I just need an editor who can do like the bare. Obviously, it will scale up in quality at some point, but I just need him to be able to do what I'm doing, which is almost nothing. It's just taking forever. And so I have no problem delegating. I do feel a little scared to, I guess, hire a VA, because they'll have my logins, they'll have all the power, right? Or is there a way you can be like, hey, they only have power to post, they can't like do this or that, or like, is that a thing?
I wish I had it off the top of my head. Yes, there is a way that you can keep your login information. If you hit me up after this podcast, I can help you out, and you can blast it underneath this to everyone. Yeah. But sweet. There are ways to do that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, let's do that, because that saves me so much time. It's like the most annoying thing, because I'm uploading at least twice a day pretty much right now. So it's like having to upload and repost everything. And it's just like, and especially with the podcast, like I used to, before I found Zencastr, which is the best thing ever, I was doing Zoom, and then I would record separately my video on my camera, and then I would try and stitch them together. But the audio with Zoom always lagged, and it would take like 12 hours to finish one podcast. And I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, it should take me like 30 minutes to edit a podcast, because there's like no editing involved. But no, yeah, that sounds fantastic to do that. Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was a topic I was going to go into, and I just completely lost my mind. But I do want to talk a little bit about you. I know we've talked so much with business. We've talked so much with mental health. But talk to me, I guess we did hit on your mental health side. But have you like always been with business? I asked this to a lot of people who have their own business. My friend Mike is the CEO of Titanium Fit, and he's always had that knack for entrepreneurial. Let me sell this rubber band for $6 when I bought it for $2. That was not me. Everything I learned from entrepreneurship was learned in the past 5 years with Gary Vee and social media people and all that. Like, has that been a thing on your radar since you were like 6 years old, or?
I mean, I was never able to like do a real job. So yeah, for sure. When I was younger, I had a paper route, which was like my first like step into entrepreneurship. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a 12-year-old kid. I had no idea what I was doing, nor did I really want to work. Yeah. But it was a matter of like that go-getting mentality of like, when I needed something, I always made it work, even if I had to work for it. Throughout college, like I was always I was one of my only friends that like worked a job, had internships. So I'd never really had the entrepreneurial mindset until like towards the end of college, after I came back from Africa, where I was like, I can't do this. I had an internship right before I left for Africa, working on Broad Street, right off of Wall Street in the IT world. Wow. And I was like, this is like the lowest point of my life. I'm working 12-hour days, hating my life. I can't do this forever. And like after coming back from Africa, I was like, any which way that I can do, like what can I do? So I started like tapping into it my senior year of college, and I was like, nah, even if I fail 100 times, I'm going to make it work. And like I failed until I didn't, and I still fail every single day with like, we're failing right now with the fact of like, we're trying to figure out that next step. We're failing until we get it. But that's part of business. It's like, but no, I didn't have it since I was young, but I always knew that I was different, because I always thought differently than a lot of my friends. I always just like that go-getting mentality of like, but not doing it for other people, always doing it for yourself. And like, it wasn't like, oh, I wanted to sell things when I was younger, I was tricky and like things up my sleeve. No, it's literally just like, I don't want to build someone else's life. And I had that mentality for a long time.
Wow, that's fucking powerful. I liked that sentence right there. That's so powerful.
That was it. It's just when you have that realization that you can really own your life. And like, I was always the first person to show up at the field for soccer, and I was always the last person to leave. And it shows in like little, because you played, like
same way.
It shows in those little traits that kind of set people apart from like the normal. And it's like, I have all those. I got to just capitalize on what I'm good at. And until you find out what you're good at, you keep failing until you figure it out.
I mean, like you just saying that actually like threw me back like way into my past, and like for some reason it popped up in my head just now. So when I was in 8th grade, I did this thing called Outer Bound. And it's basically this 1 week, just fucking like, basically you're in the Marines for a week. You go on like a canoe with like 6 people, and you just like survive for a week. And it's like super intense. And it's just like, I think for me, I tried to like it a lot, and it was fine, but it was more of like a growing thing, just like fight through and like whatever. And so I remember the whole time I was really, really working on like being the best or like doing all the extra stuff. And I knew at the end of the week there was some kind of reward for like hardest worker or like whatever. I remember at the end, the last day, I was like, this is 8th grade. And I'm like so ready because I thought I won. And I was so excited to get this fucking whatever they're going to give you, like extra bowl of cereal. And they like picked this other kid named Cross. And I remember just being like so crestfallen. I was like, wait, I just did all that work and I didn't even get recognition. And I don't think I noticed anything at that point. But when I look back, I'm like, wow, shit. Like that was purely for someone else to recognize me. And that was like everything for my whole life until like last year, really. And damn, that I did not believe that just popped in my head. Like I have not thought about that since 8th grade, I don't think.
It's amazing when you start to realize that shift of like doing for other people and like that recognition and that pat on the back to be like, at the end of the day, you could do as best as you can or worse as you can. 2 minutes after you achieve or disappoint someone, they're not going to care, but you're going to either beat yourself up or pat yourself on the back or move on to the next thing so you can pat yourself on the back. You're going to be stuck in that cycle of trying to people please. Yeah. So once you realize that you're stuck in that cycle, it's really empowering to try to get yourself out of it. And that's the only way that also you're going to build a business, because no one, at the end of the day, unless you're driving results for other people, no one's going to give you a pat on the back. You just got to do everything basically for yourself, trying to impact as many people as you want. Like everything, it's like there's intrinsic value there, and you're doing it for yourself. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like if you can do it for yourself but still impact other people, that's really what matters.
So switching gears.
That story is great, though.
Thanks. I can't believe that. That was so random. I did not expect that to pop up. So switching gears a little bit, I want to talk about. So we both went to college. We both did the college sports route. So I understand that whole thing. Talk to me about your experience with college, and also college sports, and then interloop somehow, if you can remember, like transferable skills you picked up from just college specifically, not just your 18 to 24 age, but like college specific. Is it necessary? Is it like, for me, I think it's a little bit too expensive for what you get back for it, but like, what are your thoughts on college? Did you get anything out of it?
I feel like I wouldn't be who I am today unless I went through the college experience. I don't think that anything specifically from college, like I studied economics and I played soccer. That's basically what I did. What I did pick up from college is that I'm not a 9-to-5 worker, and you can never force me into that box.
Same.
That's the one. Yeah. It taught me how to interact with people the correct way in society, but it also taught me like what conditioning looks like.
Yes.
So we're conditioned to speak and do certain things and act certain way and not be ourselves in order to put on a performance. And I realized at the end of the day, again, like a lot of the quote unquote real world is fake it till you make it. And like it showed me that after the transferable skill is you don't have to be that person, the person that they condition you to be in this lifetime. And like when you step out and you truly find value in who you are as a person and like what you can bring to the table on your self scope rather than like what they tell you can bring to the table, it's so much more empowering and you can achieve a lot more.
You can achieve so much more. All my connections came the second I started doing what I wanted to do. As soon as I was like, I want this kind of video. No one's making it. I'm doing it. But literally 2 weeks later, all the job offers started flowing in. And their first point was like, I love how you don't, like you just do what you want to do and say what you want to say. And that's exactly why. And that's the first time I was like validated. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, so this is a legit opportunity here to just be yourself, and your quirks become your strengths. Your quirks, in fact, become like your biggest traits, right? So that's fucking awesome.
Yep. I was actually laughing. It's funny that this comes up and this question was asked. So like towards the end of school, like I just like couldn't do it anymore. I was just like,
dude, oh my god.
I was always that like I need to be a straight A student, the people pleaser, part of the economics club, like really ingrained in the system.
That's so funny. Like, wow. It's so weird thinking about that, right? Like who you were back then. You're like, how the fuck?
And I like graduated school and like you can tell I just wanted to get the fuck out. Like I was so done. I couldn't do it. And this past week, one of my professors actually asked me. I was part of like the whole economics club and everything, and I always like just flew under the radar. Yeah. Like all my teachers knew who I was, but like I just existed in school. And like now, like one of my professors reached out, and they do Shark Tank once every year.
Oh, no way.
Where they give like $10,000 back to the student who wins. And I was asked to be on the board of Shark Tank, and I'm very honored that like my old professors recognize like, oh, like she's succeeding in the entrepreneurial space, like this would be a perfect fit. But like 4 years ago when I was like I was at the age of like where I could have done the Shark Tank, not in one case scenario would I have been chosen to win
Yeah,
that. So it's like it's amazing what it's like to step outside of school and see your potential versus like when you're trying to be forced into a box. Like I couldn't even think in school. And I realized that's another thing that I've learned in school. I cannot function under
me
stress
too.
that they force in school.
Yeah,
And like I feel like because you said me too right away, like between soccer and school and everything, like you're at a state of constant burnout. There's no creativity. I'm sure your creativity also was suppressed or non-existent
literally,
while you were in
completely.
school. And it took you graduating, probably falling on your face
Yeah,
into like some sort of
yeah.
depression. It sounds like it with that 6 month road
Yep.
trip.
A lot of shit had to be
And then
worked out
coming
there.
yeah. And then coming out of it and being like, wow, I actually can be this creative person,
Yeah.
still make a living, and really just like step into my not even power. I hate the word power. Step into my full
Hmm.
as a human being. It has nothing to do with power. It has nothing to do with ego. It's just feeling complete in who you are and what you were put on this planet to do. And until you really just like step away from what they call the matrix or like the conditioning or
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, I hate all these things
Yeah,
that people label
just
onto things.
buzzwords. It
It's
sucks,
just
but whatever. Yeah.
society. Yeah. Just all these, but once you step out of the buzzword world and into yourself, like as you see, it just explodes into this beautiful thing. And I don't mean like it doesn't have to be money. It's just
It's
happiness. It's just
belief. It's
contentment.
belief in yourself,
It's
and it works. Like it
yes.
100% works for me. Manifesting has become so almost suspiciously weird to the point where I'm like, bro, what in the fuck just happened? Like literally a year ago, I have journal entries from a year ago where I'm like, I'm gonna be a full-time YouTuber, and at this point, I was getting 20 views a video. I hated it because like I didn't even like the videos I was making, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just gonna keep writing it. And I wrote it for months and months. I would come back to it, think about it, and a year later, like I'm getting paid to make YouTube videos somehow, not through YouTube, but like another. So like I'm getting paid to make YouTube videos, and then the other day so when I got that offer, it wasn't like a full time. I can still it pays for my bills and extra, but I was like, this isn't like full time where I feel safe financially. And I was like, should I continue door dashing and use those 5 extra hours a day to make an extra 100, or do I double down on my YouTube and do that instead and just believe that I'll make more money if I choose this route? And that was a really intense decision for me because at this point I'm not making a ton of money, but I was like, this is that moment again for me from 6 months ago where I said, do I get this job I don't want in this place I don't want to be? Or do I say fuck it and choose myself? And I was like, well, last time I did it, it worked out pretty well, so fuck it. And so I dropped DoorDash, deleted the app, and I was like, I'm going all in. I started making more YouTube videos. And then I was like, the other day, I was like, man, I'm going to make a video called Brands I Want to Work With. And I was like, I want Morning Brew. I want a newsletter that's prioritizing like information. Then next day, I can't say like details and stuff, but a newsletter, an NFT newsletter, like reached out. And I was like, holy fuck. And it was like a real company. And I was like, that's actually really weird. And I literally wrote that down in my journal like the day before. So the power of manifestation, when you couple that with true belief and esteem based on experience and knowledge like that, manifesting becomes very scary, real, and it's incredible. I don't know what your experience is with manifestation, but I know you do yoga and you're into mindset stuff like that. So I assume you do have some kind of like thing on that.
No, of course. And like 3 years ago when I graduated, 4 years ago almost, it's like time is what. But I wrote down everything that I am today. And like it's weird to even see like you have to have intention behind your
Mm-hmm.
manifestations and your intention behind prayer, whatever you want. I call it prayer because like I am religious, I believe in God and stuff like that. I'm not very shy about it either. And like if you ask, you shall receive, but you have to ask with
Mm-hmm.
intent and you have to ask with a
Yeah.
purpose. It can't just be like, "Oh, I want money." And like, okay, 25 cents could pop into your life, a dollar could pop into your life. It's like what is the reason behind you wanting that money? Is it time freedom? Is it spending time with family? Like, what is the intent behind it? And if it lines up with like a true value and cause in this world, I feel like it can come back. And like 3 years ago, I wrote down I want to be very lean and fit. I want to be 125 pounds. I want to be blonde. I want to be fit. I want to be waking up at 5:20 in the morning. I want to be running a online business with a woman empowerment podcast, and everything that I
Wow.
stated and wrote down and manifested is what I'm doing today 3 years later. And it didn't come until one, I surrendered my life, and like I got baptized earlier this year, but it didn't happen until the greater power in this universe, my rendition is God, knew that I was ready for
Mm-hmm.
it. So that's the first thing is like you will not receive what you were not ready for is my first belief.
Yes, that's actually
And
so true. That's so true.
Yeah, and like if you do, it's going to
Mm-hmm.
collapse. That's just it. So, and until you believe in yourself. So like you can ask and ask and ask for things, but if you're not making moves towards certain things or you're not believing in exactly what you need to do, it's never going to
Yeah.
happen. So,
I mean,
two big
you get
things.
something that you deserve, like long term. If you deserve it, at some point you will get it if you keep doing it. You know, you might not get it the first time, like how it was like burned an acre. I still fucking believe I should have won that. I'm just gonna say it straight out, Cross. I deserved that extra bit of dry cereal, bro. I deserved it. But like it was, yeah, you stick with it and it's, you believe in yourself and you earn it and you fight for it. And I think manifestation is getting thrown around. All these people have different meanings for it and say, well, there's this kind of manifestation that works better than this one, and it's like, bro, that's all noise. It's just picking, like at the end of the day, it's just picking yourself and sticking with your beliefs. And yeah, I mean, like for me, I remember when I was struggling with money with DoorDash, and I started going on these walks every day, and I would listen to this manifestation about money, and it would just play over and over in my head. And I remember one day I was sitting there and I was like, maybe I should just, instead of focusing on making more money, just to accept the fact that money is abundant as fuck and it's just flowing everywhere, and maybe I deserve money. And so I just started changing my manifestation toward that. And when I really accepted and realized that the world is abundant, in fact, and in my field with NFTs, it's very, very lucrative. So when I believed that and I accepted it, and then I started saying, well, if money's abundant and I'm doing all the things that at some point will make me more money because I'm doing this and that, I should just like act like money's abundant. So I started doing giveaways and like little raffles and fun things to give back to my communities. Every single time I've given money, within like a week, something crazy happened for me, and I was like, this is weird. And now that I know that, I'm like, okay, I need to be careful with how I use this because I don't want to start giving away money, expecting money to come, you know. But it was crazy. Like when you're abundant and you're generous and you put out good shit, good stuff comes back to you. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. It's also the fact, you said the word deserving before too. It's like you have to not only try to manifest it or think about it and think that you're going to get it back, but like you have to understand that you're deserving of it, not like in an entitled way of like this
Right.
comes straight from
Mm-hmm.
Buddhism too. It's like you have to be both rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I say rich in the fact that like you know what you have to give. And this is time, energy, effort, and money. And when it comes to being poor, give away like you are rich with the expectation of a poor man's mentality of do not expect anything in return. Do not expect gratitude or gratification from other people. Give without a thought to receive.
Yes.
And like that's how manifestation works. And that's the only thing. And like you can be deserving, but feel deserving within, not from what other people think you deserve. Mm-hmm. And like when you start to think and frame your mind that way, it's just like that's when you start receiving because you're not expecting.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just like what you just said.
Yeah. No. 100%. Like
straight from the book I'm reading right now.
Yeah. I forget if I saw this somewhere or if I came up with it, but I wrote down somewhere. I was like, the key to like succeeding, and especially in our space with social media, is to keep your standards very, very high with expectations at fucking dead zero. Like no expectations. That comes literally probably from Gary Vee, I'm going to be honest, but like that's his message. Like just give and have your standards high, know who you are, know who you're worth. And that's built through years of doing it. You don't just know your worth one day. You don't just say, I'm a photographer tomorrow and then say, oh, you're supposed to pay me $500. Like, no, you have to earn your way to get there. But it's truly like keeping your standards for yourself up and expectations for what other people are going to do for you at nothing. Because like, they don't owe you anything, you know, just because you did something for them. Maybe you blew them up on a tweet that you made. Like they don't owe you something because you blew them up. Like, you know, for me with art, like I've done that for a couple of different artists now where I saw something in their art and I tweeted about it and just happened to like their thing shit like picked up, everything sold out. And I was like, look, all I do is point. I just said that thing looks cool. If that wasn't cool, it would not have sold out. Like that was on them. I just pointed and I thought it looked cool. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. I mean, I feel like we're just beating a dead horse. Like, really, it's just believing in yourself and knowing that at some point, if you've really put in that work, it will come back around. And that's really the only advice I have for people who are saying, why can't, if they're watching someone who, like, it's weird that I'm 23 and I'm having success finally with this stuff, but a lot of people look at me as 23 and say, he's only 23. He hasn't done anything. How is he already working in social media? That makes no sense. Don't you have to do all these things? And it's like, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I got here. I just kind of did stuff and it happened. And now that I'm here, like, I remember when I was like in middle school and high school, I would like shit on people like Leonardo DiCaprio or someone who's like ultra famous. Like, well, why can't he like help me in a better way than saying just like, yeah, work hard. And I was like, that doesn't help me. Like, I'm not going to get there. And it's just it's a different world when you stepped into yourself. And It looks like you've done it, and you're offering so much fucking value to people with your videos. I think a lot of your videos are more focused on marketing and stuff, and tips and stuff. But every now and then you'll have a little like mental health bit or like something about you. And I honestly think you should do more of that. Like I think when you see videos like that with someone you already know who they are, especially like all your followers, I'm sure are very connected with who you are. When they see a video of you doing like a live AMA or Q&A or something like that, I don't know if you are doing a lot of those, but I think those help so much with branding. I'm so big on branding.
Yeah. No, we go live. We used to go live like 5 times a week in our community. Wow. So it's like you do want to get your face in front of your audience as much as you can. Like I do like high-end marketing on my TikTok and stuff like that. But we drive people into our Facebook community because just like your Discord, like that's where you build real connections. And for anyone listening to this, like you build a loyal following through the community that you build. Strong community is one of the 4 factors that build a business. It's mindset is number 1.
Always.
Then it's strategy and processes, which is usually a proven process, whichever business model you're in. The third one is community, and the fourth one is mentorship. Do not expect to get anywhere unless you have people that you're following actively. And don't have like 10 different mentors, have like 2 or 3 mentors that are a year and a half above where you are and giving you the process that they took to get there. That's just my 2 cents on business. It's worked for me. It works for many. And the community. What were you gonna say?
I literally just agree with you. Like I feel like we're on the same page, like with everything. Like it's all just true. And I feel like if anyone's listening, maybe there's some topics you feel like we've just hit too much on. But honestly, like the way my mindset is with content is I want to hammer home and beat the dead horse with certain things. Like you can't have a message that has 75 moving parts. Like you have a message with 3 or 4. And you just double down on those and you talk about it. And over years and years and years, you just build on that shit. And like, that's literally the format of all these people who are, influencers or whatever you want to call them, or motivational speakers. Like they just followed that. And it sounds so scammy from the outside, but like you're watching them happen in real life. Like if you're following me or Nina, like you're investing in yourself in a way, and you're also investing in us. And it's kind of cool for me, like to network with people like you and talk to people like Easton and Caleb, because we're all like on this come up. We're on like the slow rise. And it's weird because I always thought people became friends after they like made it. And then, you're drinking champagne, like doing golf. And I was like, I guess that's just how it is. And now like I'm meeting people. I'm like, wait a second, that girl I just interviewed last week, or that person I talked to might literally be the next Gary Vee, or like the next whoever, and like, and we're 23 and like, we have all this stuff that we've kind of like done and we're working on. And it's so cool just meeting people and hearing different perspectives. So fuck, I mean, is there any like last tips you want to offer? I feel like we've just killed everything, but like, is there any tips you want to have for people who, because I'm very aware of the fact that we're both young in our 20s, and a lot of people might look at that and kind of discredit how much work you've actually put in at the age of 25.
Yeah. My advice, for one, stay the course. That's the number one thing. It's like, if you have a dream, you have a vision, like the only thing that separates us from somebody else that's like older than us is like, maybe you got a family, maybe you have other responsibilities and priorities. And like, I understand that there is a disconnect between us and somebody older, but there's nothing different. There's nothing changes from the fact that if you have a dream or a vision for yourself that you can achieve, if you put an hour a day or 2 hours a day or 5 hours a week into your vision, you're 5 hours ahead of the competition that's not doing anything. And the only person you really should see as competition is yourself. Yeah. That's my last tidbit for today. It's like, you can compare yourself to us who's 25 and 23, or you can compare yourself to the person next door who's building their multi-million-dollar business. You're failing because you're not taking action. You haven't failed enough. Yeah. And like, that's it. Just continuous action and like continuous failure will get you to where you want to go.
100%. That's so on point. And the only thing I'll add there is the people that you watch. So if you watch someone like Gary Vee or some of the people that you follow, there's a lot of things in there that you can pretty much disregard. There's a lot of noise in even the best people's stuff, but there are mindset and perspective strategy stuff that you can apply to your own arsenal of stuff in your head. And that's where the value is. That's where the years of watching Gary Vee, I've picked out the most important parts of him that I can apply to myself. There's a bunch of shit that Gary does where I'm like, it's good. I don't need that. It doesn't help me. And I think it's important for people not to just see something, write it off, say that's not worth it. Like, what's the point of doing that? Like, I think people will be surprised at how much the most trivial things and just consistently doing them is literally the formula. And you can watch it here. Like, if you follow Nina's channel, you can literally watch, like, if you want to say, how do I grow? Just literally watch her for a week, track everything she does socially, and just copy it. and just do that for 3 weeks and watch like your brand grow, because it's impossible not to. It's just how the world works, and Nina's figured this shit out. She's killing it. And I don't know if do you want to plug like links, like people, or like shout outs, anyone you want to like talk about or something last minute?
Yeah, I'll shout out to my business partner, Brad Schildkraut, who actually helped me grow tremendously as an entrepreneur these past 5 months. You can find him on TikTok.
Fire. What's his TikTok?
Um,
Well, I'll just link all your shit down below. So guys, if you want to get in contact with her, all her shit will be below. Just contact her, and yeah.
Yeah, and I'll definitely plug Easton here.
Yes.
So I'll give a nice shout out to Easton.
Well,
Gladly,
we always shout out Easton.
Connected.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
Who connected with me earlier this year and helped me change my life with the 75 hard, and connected me right here on this podcast with Cade. So shout out to Easton, because he's a fantastic human and definitely rips value on TikTok.
100%. Shout out Easton, we love you, dude. And honestly, I've had like multiple people that I've interviewed that we became friends after, or we like started making content or whatever. And so it's just cool. It's just such a fucking weird world, and I love every part of it. And I appreciate you coming on. And this was like probably, I feel like maybe we're just killing it, but like every time I do one recently, I'm like, this is like one of the best podcasts I've ever done. So I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I would love to have you in my Facebook community too, if you have the time, space, and energy.
I'd be down to do some collabs, hang out, talk to your people. I'm totally down.
Yeah, for sure. I'll definitely have to check the calendar for our next open, but I can definitely squeeze you in. Just let me know when you're time free, and we can get you on.
All right, guys. I appreciate everyone listening. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button if you aren't already. Follow all Nina's socials down below. I'll have everything linked. Maybe you'll see some collabs in the future. Who knows? I'll see you guys later. Bye.